Hello everyone, this is ponderonweather coming at you with another video. In this update, we're talking about the overall upcoming pattern that's going to bring some much needed rain for the desert Southwest and some colder temperatures for the US, and then some Arctic air looking to press southward from Canada by the end of next weekend. So before I do get started, if you do like weather related content, please subscribe to my channel as I will upload daily updates to keep you ahead of the storm. And I do ask you to share this video with your friends and family on social media. All right, so let's get started. Here is the overall U.S. Drought Index, what's kind of really happening. You can see a lot of the rainfall has been much of the southeast and the northeast, but as we look out west, parts of California, especially the desert Southwest, they're just begging for rainfall out in those areas, and it's been just kind of high and dry for a good chunk of the western part of the U.S. But I do feel that is going to start to change as we look at the latest, the Climate Prediction Center from the La Nina and what's really happening with the Enzo. So they still on board with a 95% chance the La Nina continuing through the end of March. But they've changed their outlook from April to June, that now instead of a 65% chance, now it's a 50% chance that the La Nina is going to continue. And we're kind of slowly actually transitioning to more of an Enzo neutral. You can see the dip here. We had a massive dip going into a predominantly strong, if not moderate La Nina back at the end of October. That was kind of the culprit for the big activity we had in the Caribbean with those big hurricanes at the end of the season. So it was kind of a bad scenario for that. But after that, we kind of started lifting back northward, and we've been kind of holding that trend line kind of ever since. And we're slowly making the progression from more of a moderate to more of a weak. And then I do feel we'll go a weak La Nina, and I do feel we'll go to more of an Enzo neutral as we go kind of deeper into winter as we head towards spring. So now let's take a look at the water temperatures and kind of what's really happening out there. You can see here's your La Nina down to the south in the Pacific, but I want you to turn your attention to the warmer temperatures out here in the Pacific, especially along the coast. So that kind of implies now we're starting to get some of those warmer temperatures along the coast. That'll have these systems that come across the Bering Sea. We'll have a ridge start to develop over Alaska, and that will lift up northward. And as it comes down, drawing in some of that colder air from Siberia, that will set the stage for more of a troughing pattern out west and kind of amplify the pattern, especially as we kind of tick back up towards more of a weak La Nina. We'll have a lot more precipitation to work with the Pacific jet. And then we still have those well above average temperatures, the anomalies for just right off the coast for the Northeast. And so there hasn't really been much colder air to mix in the pattern, because that's why we've seen a lot of the rain events, especially along the coast. But with this amplified, water temperatures along the coast, as colder Arctic air tries to mix in, this will actually be your best friend if you're a snow level, because that will actually amplify the precipitation. A lot of that rainfall will be falling as snow for the Northeast, and I do feel like that will amp up the totals in the big way once Arctic air tries to gets to intrude into the overall pattern. Because you can see here's the latest 500 millibar. By the time we get into the 22nd to the 27th time frame, you can kind of see what's happening up above in the upper atmosphere. We're starting to see more of an Alaskan block. Alaska turns above average. That will set the stage for as the system comes across from the Bering Sea. It'll amplify the ridge out west, pull in that colder air, and set the trough out west as it taps into more of an active Pacific jet. And as these systems kind of swing across, then Arctic air will try to intrude. Here's your negative NAO as well. So when we got a west-based negative NAO, as these Arctic air systems comes southward, and as have more of a little bit more amplified jet, that'll kind of set the stage for, again, a little bit less progressive with these systems. These systems will start to kind of slow down, or if not stall at some point, sometimes, and that will amplify the precipitation and snow totals as well as we go deeper into as more of a blocking pattern kind of takes shape. Now let's take a look at the overall vorticity index and what's happened at the upper levels this week. And so as we kind of fast forward till about Wednesday, we can see a developing trough really kind of digging off the Baja of California. And that is actually going to set the stage for bringing some much needed rain for the desert Southwest, where they've been high and dry. And that will send spokes of energy across into Texas, and it'll pull in some colder air initially. So we'll start to see some snow fly into places like New Mexico and some of the higher elevations of Arizona. But as the system will kind of pull across, it'll, like I said, send spokes of energy into Texas, going into Louisiana and Mississippi with some rain showers, increasing rain showers, daily rain showers as we go deeper into next week. But then up above, we'll have some winds to really deal with as that trough really digs down into off the Baja of California. So by Tuesday night into Wednesday, you will really have to be looking out for these kind of extreme winds in California. And unfortunately, that'll increase the high fire danger out there as well, where they've just been really dry. And so, yeah, we could easily see winds topping 60, 70 miles an hour, no question. So definitely wanted to give you a heads up on that. But as we kind of look more in time, that first system from Wednesday will kind of swing across and, like I mentioned, dump some much needed rain for the desert Southwest going into Texas. But then we also have another system kind of setting the stage for, by the time Friday the 22nd rolls around, that will actually pull in some colder air to the northwest, where you're going to start seeing those below average temperatures starting to creep into the picture. And this system will kind of dive south, and notice the flow. And I was wanting to kind of take your attention to the flow. So here, this is more of a zonal flow. A lot of the colder air is trapped to the north, but it's pushing northeast. So by the time Thursday, Friday rolls around, I do expect below average temperatures start to enter the picture for the northeast, and still we're going to be above average out here. But once this low swings in California, we'll start to intrude some of those colder temperatures for the northwest as well as we go deeper in. But then by the time next Monday rolls around, now we'll have some colder air to kind of tap into. This system will kind of come across and it'll swing across the western part in the central U.S. And this could set the stage for a pretty big snowstorm for the Midwest. And this will continue moving off to the northeast. And yes, there are some indications this could also be a big snowstorm for the northeast, but that's a little bit too far out. That's good by the time maybe potentially the 26th, 27th time frame, somewhere around there. But let me kind of take you a look at the latest Climate Prediction Center that's kind of implying that. I mean, with these troughs coming in from the northwest, we have those below average temperatures, and this is their 6 to 10 day outlook from the 22nd. So we're probably above average until then, but we're going to start to creep in below average temperatures for the northwest in a good chunk of the northern tier, and then above average down to the south. And here's their 8 to 14 day as well. So again, a much colder pattern eventually coming on board, and then eventually some Arctic air trying to intrude into the pattern by the time end of next week rolls around. And yeah, the precipitation is going to be a major player as well. There's your kind of bullseye for the desert Southwest. They're going to bring some much needed rainfall for that region, but you can see it kind of really amps up. So there are going to be some wetter times and more precipitation kind of to work with. And then as these Arctic air intrusions start to penetrate southward, that'll create a little bit elevated snowfall totals as well as we go deeper into next week. So let's take a look at the surface of what's actually happened right now. This is as of this morning. You can see that snowstorm that we've been talking about that's pushing off to the northeast. We had some pretty big snowfall totals. I mean, Pittsburgh picked up 3 inches, but up here in the northwest, especially in the higher elevations, I was hearing like Vermont, picked up a 16-inch snowfall total. So there was definitely some welcome snows for the ski country out here, and you can see we're just getting these sporadic snow showers for the Ohio Valley over the next several days. But as we kind of take you through Tuesday, that's going to be starting to set the initial stage of the big rain event for the desert Southwest, getting into Texas, going into Louisiana and Arkansas, Mississippi, and Alabama. But then initially, we'll have some colder air to tap into. That'll bring some snow to the higher elevations into New Mexico as we go into Colorado as well. By the time Friday rolls around, you can see that next initial trough that's going to be digging in from California that will bring increasing snows for the Northwest. We still have that flow down south from the spokes of energy that's going to be pinwheeling across Texas, still streaming across the southeast. So we're going to be over a several day period. We could pick up some pretty healthy rain totals, and we might be dealing with flooding issues down here, just maybe south of Dallas, especially as we go into Louisiana and Mississippi by the time end of next week rolls around. But now, once we get by next Sunday, once we get some colder air trying to intrude, as that second trough comes across California and swings across the midsection of the country, that's really going to amplify these snowfall totals for the central part in the Midwest, and that will kind of set the stage for possibly that big big snowstorm for the Northeast. We'll just have to kind of see how that plays out. But again, there's a lot of indications that looking like that may occur around the 26, 27 timeframe, but that's just out of my comfort zone to talk about right now. But as we kind of look at the overall precipitation, what over the next week, you can see a good chunk of the desert Southwest is going to bring some welcome rainfall into the four corners of Arizona, Utah, Colorado, getting into New Mexico. And then we'll have that other system that's going to be just south of Dallas-Fort Worth, so maybe 1 to 2 inches for Dallas-Fort Worth. But then places down southeast could be really ramping up some 4 or 5 inch rainfall totals, no question, as we'll have a lot of precipitation to work with, and we could have flooding issues as well. And if we take a look at the overall snow, I do feel these totals are going to be a little bit more amped up because that system doesn't really come across until by the end of next week. So I think we'll have a lot more precipitation to work with and some colder air. But initially, that a lot of the colder air will be confined to the northern tier of the U.S., mainly in Canada and along the northeast coast. So hey, I appreciate you guys watching. Do like this video. Definitely leave your comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel to catch the latest update where I protect you before and after the storm.